The film is set in a not-so-distant future where Earth's environment has been severely damaged, leading to a new ice age. Humans are now forced to live underground to survive. In one of the last remaining shelters, an alarm bell rings, followed by screams. Two frightened individuals are seen running down a corridor, pursued by an unseen threat. They reach a door, but it's locked. In another shelter, a man named Sam is outside repairing satellite dishes when he notices a group of men. One of them is sick and pleads for another day to recover. However, Mason, one of the men, believes they've already spent too many resources on him and prepares to shoot him. The sick man requests the walk, but Mason ignores him. Sam intervenes, reminding Mason that the sick have the right to choose between walking away or being shot. Mason, however, disregards this and kills the man, justifying it as a necessity for their survival. Upon returning inside, it's revealed that the fear of common illnesses like the cold has gripped the survivors due to their confined living conditions and limited resources. The last flu outbreak killed 20 people in less than a week. This led their leader, Briggs, to implement a new rule. Sick individuals are quarantined, and if they don't recover, they can choose between a bullet or a long walk in the snow. Despite the dwindling food supplies and decreasing population, the survivors work hard to care for each other. Rumors of a warm paradise circulate, but Sam remains skeptical. Sam visits Briggs to report Mason's rule-breaking. While Briggs is displeased, he has a more pressing matter to attend to. In the communications room, Cooper informs them of an SOS signal from Colony 5, which isn't responding to their messages. Briggs calls for an emergency meeting while Sam visits Victor, who oversees the livestock. Victor shares the unfortunate news that the last litter of rabbits was stillborn, and of the 12 remaining, only one female is left, and the other rabbits refuse to mate with her. Briggs confronts Mason about his actions, but Mason defends his decision, arguing that those who choose to walk will return and consume their food. Sam then visits his girlfriend Kai, who gives him some pellets for the rabbits and discusses her work. She believes that functional weather modification technology exists and is buried under the ice, and she vows to continue searching for it with their radar to maintain hope. During the meeting, Dexter's wife sneezes, causing panic among the survivors. The couple is immediately quarantined, and Mason complains, doubting Kai's leadership abilities. Briggs reprimands him and instructs him to wait for his return before making any decisions about the quarantined couple. In a snowstorm, a boy trudges against the wind until he stumbles upon his mother's lifeless body. Sam wakes up, revealing it was a nightmare about his mother's death. Kai comforts him, assuring him it wasn't his fault. The next day, the team embarks on their mission, braving the freezing snow and wind. They cross an abandoned city and find a non-functional weather modification machine. They carefully cross a damaged bridge, with Briggs narrowly avoiding a fall when a piece of the bridge breaks. At the end of the bridge, they discover a car with a dead man beside it, a gun in his hand. Upon closer inspection, they find a dead family inside the car and realize the man killed them before taking his own life. After a long trek in the snow, the trio finds a crashed helicopter and uses it as a shelter for the night. Graydon, who has never seen a helicopter or plane in the air, is fascinated by the concept. Briggs contacts their outpost for an update and learns that Dexter and his wife's condition is worsening. Mason insists on testing them, so Briggs authorizes Cooper to use force against Mason if necessary. The next day, they finally reach Colony 5 and are horrified to find blood outside the main entrance. Inside, they smell smoke and find more blood. They prepare themselves for the worst when they hear a noise from a locked room. Sam picks the lock and they find a man named Leland on the floor. Leland pleads for mercy and they assure him they mean no harm. Leland explains that his colony fixed their antenna a few days ago and received a message, which he plays for the trio. In the video, a man is seen in a snow-free zone, explaining that his group has fixed a weather machine and successfully thawed the frozen soil, giving them access to fertile land. All they need now are seeds. Unfortunately, the transmission gets cut off, and they only hear part of the location. Leland tells them that they tried to find the location based on the transmission and sent a team to find this warm area, but they never found it. Instead, something dangerous found them and followed them back to the colony. Sam asks Leland to mark the location on his map. Then Briggs tells him that they'll take him back with them. However, Leland is too scared to leave the room and reveals he didn't make the noise they heard. The trio gathers all the supplies they can find in the room and tries to contact their colony, but they can't get through. Then they finally leave and try to bring Leland with them, but strange noises can be heard, and Leland gets so scared that he runs back inside and locks the door. The trio continues to move without him, and the deeper inside the outpost they go, the more banging and screaming they hear. Eventually, they see the light from some torches and come closer to find a horrifying sight. Surrounded by the bodies of the colonists, there's a man butchering a body and others eating human flesh. Suddenly, the butcher smells them and turns around, ready to attack, but Sam shoots him first. The shot wakes up more cannibals from the pile of bodies, and the leader screams as they start chasing the group down the corridors. Sam shoots the leader in the ear and manages to kill another guy, but there are too many of them, so Briggs throws a stick of dynamite to slow them down. Graydon accidentally separates from the group, but he barely manages to step back before he's surrounded by cannibals who immediately attack him. Briggs and Sam finally show up and fight against the attackers, killing them one by one until they're all dead. Unfortunately, by the time they check on Graydon, it's too late. He's dead as well. There's no time to grieve. Briggs and Sam have to keep on running. After climbing the stairs, Sam shoots another cannibal and runs out of ammo. Then Briggs breaks the stairs off to stop the cannibals from following them. Unfortunately, there's a cannibal already there, so Briggs proceeds to fight him, and after a lot of struggle, he manages to shoot him off. The rest of the cannibals soon arrive and see what Briggs did, so the leader yells at him in anger. Once the duo is outside, Briggs throws dynamite into the entrance to destroy this tower and seal the colony. They walk under the snow for a while, and when they find the helicopter again, Briggs decides they'll spend the night in it because the temperature is dropping too fast. They begin discussing the cannibals, and Briggs says that people do terrible things to survive. The next morning, the duo discovers that the cannibals have been following their footprints and are now coming closer. Sam is afraid that they'll follow them to the colony, but Briggs has a plan to stop them. They run through the bridge as fast as possible and make a difficult jump to cross more quickly. Then they leave some lit dynamite next to the gap and hide behind some broken signs. Unfortunately, the wind puts out the fuse, and when Sam volunteers to light it again, Briggs knocks him down and goes himself. The wind makes it very hard to use his lighter, but Briggs keeps trying while a few cannibals try to jump and fall through the gap. Once Briggs finally lights the fuse, he fights the cannibals on purpose to bring them closer, and suddenly the dynamite blows out in his hands. The explosion kills Briggs and takes down the middle of the bridge, so now it can't be crossed anymore. Sam sees that a few cannibals, including the leader, have survived and glare at him from the other side, so he starts running again. Meanwhile, at the outpost, Mason has taken Dexter and his wife outside, ignoring their pleas for mercy. Mason shoots the wife, but before he can shoot Dexter too, Kai comes out and threatens to shoot him if he doesn't stop. An argument ensues over how the colony should be led, but at that moment, they hear Sam crying out for help. Dexter uses the distraction to run away, and Kai runs to check on Sam, who passes out from the cold. Mason approaches too, and knocks Kai out. A few hours later, Sam wakes up inside the outpost, and he has to give Victor the bad news about his son. Suddenly, Mason comes in and cuffs Sam to the bed, saying that there has been a change in command and using the excuse of survival. Rations will be cut in half. Anyone showing signs of sickness will be tested immediately, and whoever refuses to work won't eat. Sam tells Mason everything that happened and insists they should leave before the cannibals find them, mentioning the warm place he saw in the video. However, Mason doesn't believe him and leaves the room, taking everyone with him. Before leaving, a little boy reveals that he stole the handcuff keys and secretly hands them to Sam. Outside, Mason and Victor keep an eye out for possible invaders, but see nothing. Victor points out that Sam isn't the kind to lie, so they should be ready for an attack anyway. They decide to use the security cameras instead, but they're interrupted when another colonist informs them Sam has escaped. Back to Sam, he goes looking for Kai, and finds her restrained in another room. After quickly releasing her, he uses her computer to look for the location of the message. At first, he sees nothing, but after looking around, the radar finally picks up a warm area, confirming a thaw exists. The couple takes as many seeds as they can carry in their bags and runs to tell the others, only to be intercepted by Mason and his men, who remind him who is in charge. Suddenly, there's a loud banging noise outside, so the group runs to check the security cameras. To their horror, they see the cannibals hitting the doors to try to bring them down, and the leader holds up Dexter's head as a threat before breaking the camera. Finally believing Sam, Mason quickly gives orders. Everyone that can shoot must be given a weapon, and the rest of the people shall hide in the vault. While Cooper guides all the colonists to the vault and guards the door, the armed group runs to the corridor to wait for the door to come down. For a moment, the lights go out, and when they return, the door opens yet nobody comes in. Now the noises can be heard inside the shelter, and suddenly a cannibal bursts out of the vents right in front of Cooper. He tries to defend himself, but the cannibal knocks him down and runs to the vault, only for the colonist to close it on his face. The armed group realizes too late that the cannibals are in the air ducts, because the enemy finds them as well. A fierce battle breaks out, with both sides suffering losses. But no matter how many cannibals they defeat, more keep coming. Sam and Kai escape, but Victor, tired of running, fights against the leader. He fights bravely, but unfortunately, the leader kills him first. Meanwhile, an injured Mason runs to a safe room where a few survivors who didn't make it to the vault are hiding. He closes the door before Sam and Kai can enter. A cannibal is getting closer, so a colonist knocks Mason down and lets the couple come in. But unfortunately, the cannibal manages to follow them into the room. Kai immediately shoots him down, and they run to lock the door. But it won't hold for long, because the rest of the cannibals arrive and start hitting it. Thinking quickly, Sam opens a vent and tells the group to follow him outside. Mason protests, saying they'll only freeze and that they should hold off the enemy here. The others ignore him and leave through the vent, and Sam pauses to give Mason a gun before leaving too. In just a few seconds, the cannibals break the door down and come after Mason, who shoots a gas tank to create a huge explosion. All the cannibals are killed except for the leader. Soon the leader reaches Sam, and they start fighting inside the vent, which breaks under their struggle and causes them to fall into the livestock room. The fight continues as Sam keeps on throwing anything he can grab at the cannibal, but the guy easily overpowers him. After a few hits, the cannibal throws Sam on the floor and begins dragging him around, which gives Sam the chance to grab a fallen knife and hurt his opponent on the leg. The guy tries to defend himself, but this time it is Sam who overpowers him and starts beating him up, furiously deforming his face before cutting his head off at the mouth. Then he tries to leave, only to find the corridor on fire. Outside, Kai and the remaining survivors come out of the vent and watch their home burn. At that moment, Sam comes out of the vent too and tells them they need to find the warm place from the message. The group starts walking on the snow, hoping they'll find a new place to call home. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.